Our movie starts in Japan at an institution called Janweti, where the character Kanfu Shadow is imprisoned. Shadow has been locked in this state for 50 years, and his subconscious begins to recall some memories from his past. At the same time, the system of the facility is being hacked, and this causes Shadow to awaken. He breaks free from his capsule, uses his supernatural strength, and emerges. With incredible speed, Shadow quickly eliminates all the guards and escapes from the Janweti institution, heading towards the city of Tokyo. On the other side, Sonic and Tails were preparing for a race. Sonic mocks them, telling them that they will definitely lose because he is the fastest creature in the galaxy. Tom and Maddie organize the race, and the three competitors are called up. Sonic, thinking he is in the lead, is surprised when Tails and Knuckles are ahead of him. Sonic stays quiet for a moment, then runs at full speed and reaches the finish line, but is puzzled when he sees that Tails and Knuckles have already finished before him. He says, "How can I lose in a speed race?" When Sonic speaks with Tails and Knuckles, he realizes that they were just decoys. He quickly runs to the camp to find out what's going on. There, he discovers that his friends have thrown a party to celebrate the 3 years since Sonic arrived on Earth. Sonic understands that the race was just a distraction to get him there and surprise him with the celebration. Tails and Knuckles tell him that he deserves the honor because, without him, they wouldn't have been here. Tom and Maddie also express how much Sonic has changed their lives since he came to Earth. Sonic is happy and grateful. As he walks around with Tom, Sonic happens to find the old cave where he used to live. Tom sees a drawing that Sonic made of Long, and Sonic tells him, by pure coincidence, "I made this drawing on my first day on Earth to always remember where I came from. I hope Long will be proud of me." Tom responds, "Of course, Long will be proud of you because you have a good heart and always follow it, which leads you to make the right decisions." Sonic tells Tom, "If it worked for you, I would have become a completely different person." Meanwhile, Shadow is walking the streets of Japan, observing his surroundings and realizing that it's the year 2024, meaning he has been imprisoned for 50 years. The forces of the Jan institution gather around him to capture him, but he grows angry and begins attacking them. At the same time, Sonic and his friends are relaxing in peace when a helicopter arrives at their location. A woman named Rockwell steps out and informs Sonic that a dangerous threat has appeared in Tokyo. General Walters is requesting the support of Sonic's team to deal with it. Sonic takes responsibility and agrees to help. They board the helicopter with Rockwell, which passes through a time gate and takes them to Tokyo in seconds. Sonic encourages his team, saying, "We don't know who we're facing, but as long as we're together, no one can defeat us." The three of them jump out of the helicopter, land safely, and find themselves in a devastated area. A car is hurled toward them, but Knuckles saves the day. Shadow then appears, surprising Sonic. Sonic, shocked, asks, "How are you my look-alike?" Shadow replies coldly, "I'm not like anyone. Don't waste my time and step aside for your own good." Sonic tries to remain calm and says, "Let's talk and see what's troubling you." But Shadow dismisses him, saying, "I'm not talking to anyone." As Shadow starts walking away, Knuckles attempts to attack him, but Shadow suddenly appears in front of him and strikes him multiple times mid-air, throwing him far away. Sonic and Tails step in to fight Shadow, but Shadow surprises them by appearing behind them and knocking them all down. He then rides off on a motorcycle, warning Sonic not to follow him. Sonic, however, doesn't back down and chases after Shadow. Shadow tries to shoot and ram him, but Sonic dodges and clings to the motorcycle, continuing the pursuit. They crash into each other, ending up on top of a building. Shadow manages to break free, soaring into the air. The two charge at each other simultaneously, but Sonic can't withstand the collision and loses consciousness for a while. Sonic's friends rush to him, telling him, "You shouldn't have fought him alone. We're a team, and we face things together." Sonic apologizes to Tails, saying, "I'm just not used to it yet, but now we need answers to many questions." They then meet General Walters. Sonic asks him, "Who is this guy we just fought?" Walters explains, "Shadow's story is similar to yours, but while you found a family and friends on Earth, Shadow found only pain and loss. 50 years ago, a meteor crashed to Earth, and inside it was Shadow. Scientists took Shadow and studied his powers, discovering that he possessed incredible abilities. But his overwhelming power led to the lab's destruction, causing the deaths of dozens of people. The Jan Institution deemed the head of the lab responsible and arrested him. They didn't know what to do with Shadow. He couldn't be free because he posed a danger, but he couldn't be killed because of his immense value. So they locked him in a capsule." Sonic remarks, Someone must have helped Shadow escape from the capsule. Walters agrees, adding, yes, but only a few people even know about Shadow's existence. Suddenly, without warning, Robotnik's drone planes appear. Everyone takes cover from their gunfire. Sonic and his friends wonder how the drones got there, as Robotnik is supposedly dead. A mysterious figure on a motorcycle appears, disabling all the drones. The stranger doesn't reveal their identity and leaves quickly. Sonic and his friends remove debris from Walters, finding him in bad shape. Before dying, Walters hands Sonic a key to a powerful weapon and tells him, "You're the only one I trust with this key. Keep it safe and don't give it to anyone." Walters then dies. Moments later, Rockwell arrives, but Sonic and his friends have already left. She searches Walter's body for the key, suspecting that Sonic has it. Tails asks Sonic, "Why did we run away from Rockwell?" Sonic tells Tails, "We can't trust anyone right now." They start chasing the mysterious figure on the motorcycle, determined to uncover his identity. The figure stops and reveals himself to be Stone, Dr. Robotnik's assistant. Sonic and his friends suspect that Stone is the one who freed Shadow, but Stone denies it, saying, "It wasn't me or Dr. Robotnik who did this." The scene cuts to Dr. Robotnik, who now leads a sedentary life, doing nothing but eating and watching TV. His drones bring him everything he needs, and he has become noticeably overweight. Robotnik snaps out of his lethargy when he sees Sonic and his friends standing before him. Shocked, he asks Stone, "Why did you bring my greatest enemies here?" Sonic and the others are equally surprised to find Robotnik still alive. Stone explains to Robotnik, "Someone out there is impersonating you and using your robots." Stone shows Robotnik a video of this imposter, which enrages Robotnik. Furious, Robotnik decides to find this individual and take revenge. Tails, addressing Sonic, says, "I'm sorry, but we have no choice but to team up with Robotnik to find Shadow." Sonic objects at first, but Knuckles agrees with Tails. Ultimately, Sonic decides to go along with his friends because they are a team. Robotnik agrees to the alliance, but imposes a condition. "I want one strand of Sonic's hair." Reluctantly, Sonic hands over the strand of hair. Later, Stone helps Robotnik shave and tidy up, preparing him for action. Meanwhile, Shadow visits the ruins of the destroyed lab and finds a pair of shoes belonging to a girl named Maria. Maria was the granddaughter of the professor who led the lab and had a close relationship with Shadow. She adored him, and Shadow felt she was kind-hearted. They grew to be close friends, spending a lot of time together. Maria often took him outside the lab to enjoy life, and Shadow became her best friend. One day, while stargazing together, Maria told Shadow, "My grandfather used to say that stars and planets are hundreds of light years away from Earth." She asked him, "What planet are you from?" Shadow replied, "I don't know anything about my home." Maria reassured him, "Consider this your home, your country." But Shadow confessed, "I feel like I'm dangerous. I see it in the scientist's eyes. I don't even know what I really am." Maria encouraged him, saying, "You are my friend, and you can be anyone you choose to be. You decide who you are from your heart." Shadow thanked her for her words, holding her hands. Back in the present, Shadow encounters the professor who had overseen his studies 50 years ago, the same man who was arrested. Shadow tells him, "I can't forget the pain I endured from those who imprisoned me." The professor replies, "I've come to you so we can punish them together." Minutes later, Robotnik leads Sonic and his friends to the lab where Shadow and the professor are hiding. Robotnik tells them, "We need to split up and search the place for anything useful." And here, Sonic wasn't confident in Robotnik and insisted on searching alongside him while the rest of the group spread out to search the area. Shadow appears and starts attacking. Meanwhile, Sonic finds items belonging to Shadow and sees a picture of him with Maria, realizing that this was where Shadow lived. Suddenly, Shadow appears and attacks him. Robotnik discovers drones in the area and is confronted by the professor, who turns out to be a con man that stole the drones from Robotnik. The professor reveals that he had taken control of the drones to lure Robotnik there and reunite the family. He declares himself to be Robotnik's grandfather, Gerald, leaving Robotnik shocked. Gerald explains that their lineage is one of brilliance starting from him. However, Robotnik wants proof of Gerald's intelligence and asks him questions in mathematics and geography, all of which Gerald answers correctly. Gerald even mimics Robotnik's mannerisms and reveals that he took a strand of Shadow's hair, confirming to Robotnik that he is indeed his grandfather. Overjoyed, Robotnik embraces Gerald and asks where he has been all these years. Gerald explains that he was imprisoned in a secret jail for 50 years and brought Robot Nick here for a reason. He takes Robot Nick to show him Sonic and his friends tied up. Sonic is shocked to see two Robotniks in front of him and learns that Gerald is Robotnik's grandfather. Gerald admits he freed Shadow and was behind the attack on GUN. Gerald and Shadow's goal is revenge on GUN for keeping them imprisoned for decades. Gerald reveals that he designed the strongest weapon humanity has ever known for GUN in exchange for his freedom, a cannon capable of delivering a devastating strike anywhere on Earth. Gerald intends to use the key Shadow has taken to activate the cannon and destroy GUN. Sonic argues that such a weapon would threaten millions, but Gerald dismisses his concerns, telling Robot Nick they need a second key to activate the cannon, located inside GUN's headquarters. Robot Nick returns to his villainous ways and agrees to help his grandfather. Sonic tries to reason with Shadow, saying there's good inside him, but Shadow is consumed by his desire for revenge. Before leaving, Shadow throws a small device that creates a black hole-like vacuum, but Knuckles bites onto a wire with his teeth, allowing Sonic to use a ring from Tails to escape to safety. Robot Nick believes Sonic and his friends are dead and praises Gerald, saying he has tried many times to eliminate them and failed, but Gerald managed to do it in one day. Gerald reassures Robot Nick that no one can stop them now. They bond and spend time catching up on lost years. Meanwhile, Tom and Maddie are at home enjoying some peace when Sonic and his friends arrive, seeking their help with a dangerous mission. Tails reveals GUN's headquarters in London, surrounded by an energy shield that incinerates anything passing through. The plan is to place a special flash drive in the control room to deactivate the shield. Tom and Maddie volunteer for the task, while Sonic uses his speed to bypass laser defenses and retrieve the second key, though there is limited information about the security surrounding it. Maddie suggests Sonic use the Chaos Emerald for an easier solution, but Sonic refuses, citing its dangerous power. The team had hidden the emerald in a secret location known only to Knuckles. The plan is set. They head to London to execute Tails' strategy. At the villain's side, Gerald and Robot Nick arrive at GUN's headquarters. Shadow wants to storm in and kill anyone in his way, but Gerald calms him down, saying his time will come. Meanwhile, Tom and Maddie disguise themselves and infiltrate the headquarters, bypassing security. Maddie uses facial recognition bypass tech to enter the control room, only to find someone has already inserted a flash drive. Tails scans the building and identifies Gerald and Robot Nick heading for the vault. Sonic springs into action, despite Tails' warnings about reactivating the energy shield. He narrowly makes it through with Tails' quick help. Meanwhile, Gerald and Robot Nick reach the vault but are immobilized by its gravity-altering system. Sonic struggles to retrieve the key as the gravity fields disorient him. Rookwell, another character, arrives, accusing Sonic of trying to steal the key. Her men capture Tom, Maddie, and Tails. Sonic orders Knuckles to break the glass ceiling, which he does, causing chaos as debris rains down. The gravity is disabled when Sonic inadvertently destroys the control device, freeing everyone. Rookwell manages to grab the key and escape. Sonic disguises himself as Commander Walters to trick her into handing over the key. Shadow, mistaking Sonic for Walters, attacks him in a rage, takes the key, and assists Robot Nick and Gerald in eliminating guards. Now with both keys in their possession, Gerald activates the cannon, which emerges from underwater. Meanwhile, an ambulance takes the severely injured Tom, leaving Sonic enraged. Determined to stop Shadow, Sonic demands Knuckles reveal the Chaos Emerald's location. Despite warnings from Knuckles and Tails about the Emerald's dangerous power, Sonic refuses to listen and prepares for a showdown. And here, Wade was treating her like a hockey puck. Sonic goes to him, takes her, gains her power, and starts turning ideas into reality while flying in the air. The whole world feels the threat of Robot Nick and Gerald, realizing they have captured a dangerous cannon capable of destroying nations in seconds. Gerald tells Shadow that the time has come for revenge, but Shadow feels what he is doing is wrong. He asks Gerald if Maria would have approved of such actions. Gerald replies that this is not the right question because humanity deserves what they are about to do to it, reminding Shadow that they took Maria away from them. Shadow recalls the past when Gerald asked them to escape as the guards chased them to capture Shadow. During the chase, a gunfire hit the energy capsule, causing an explosion that killed dozens of doctors and Maria. Both Shadow and Gerald were deeply upset, and they were both arrested. After remembering these painful memories, Shadow becomes convinced by Gerald's words and starts running around the cannon to power it up. Robotnik asks his grandfather what is happening. Gerald explains that by using Shadow's power, they can turn Earth to ashes. Robotnik is shocked and adamantly rejects the idea, arguing that if they work together, they could rule the world. Gerald counters, saying humanity is a failed experiment, and no one understands this better than Robotnik, whose life has been filled with rejection and loneliness. Robotnik tries to argue, saying he considers Gerald his family, but Gerald coldly responds, saying his family disappeared forever when Maria was taken from him. Driven by what happened to Maria, Gerald is determined to destroy the world to achieve justice. Robotnik becomes upset, realizing Stone was right, and Gerald is about to launch a missile at Earth in 10 minutes. Sonic arrives, gets on the spacecraft, and takes Shadow into space, saying it all ends now. They fall toward Earth, with Shadow delivering a powerful strike that scatters the Chaos Emeralds. Both of them race to collect 3 emeralds each, unlocking great power, and continue their fight across various locations on Earth at incredible speed. Meanwhile, Robotnik attacks Gerald, attempting to thwart his plan. However, Gerald retaliates, striking him with a massive blow. Shadow initially dominates his battle with Sonic, mocking him about Tom. This angers Sonic, who channels his strength and lands a powerful punch that sends Shadow flying to the moon. Shadow's power fades, leaving Sonic stronger. Sonic, however, refuses to kill Shadow, recalling Tom's words about his kind heart. This leaves Shadow puzzled, asking why Sonic spared him. Sonic replies that no Avenger truly wins. Shadow looks up at the stars and reminisces about seeing them with Maria, admitting that her loss caused him immense pain. Sonic shares his own pain over losing Longclaw, but emphasizes that love is stronger than pain, and though Maria is gone, Shadow's love for her remains. Shadow is moved by Sonic's words and acknowledges his mistakes. Sonic extends his hand, saying the right choice is often the hardest but always worth it. Together, they agree to repair the damage done. Using the emeralds, they harness their combined power. Gerald, meanwhile, attacks Robotnik with advanced weaponry, destroying the control system, ensuring the missile cannot be recalled. Robotnik retaliates, killing Gerald with a powerful energy blast. The primary issue now becomes the missile hurtling toward Earth. Sonic and Shadow manage to redirect the cannon's blast from Earth to the moon at the last moment, causing massive destruction but saving the planet. Sonic loses consciousness, drifting in space, while Tails and Knuckles try to rescue him. Tails also loses consciousness due to the pressure, prompting Knuckles to leap after them. They open a portal back to the farm and land safely. Robotnik tells Shadow the ship's core is overloaded with energy and will soon explode, releasing radiation capable of destroying Earth. Shadow sees this as an opportunity to do the right thing and asks Robotnik to buy him enough time to push the ship away from Earth. Robotnik broadcasts a live message thanking Stone and admitting that if he cannot rule the world, it's better to save it, calling Stone his friend. Robotnik and Shadow sacrifice themselves to save Earth. Tails is shocked by Robotnik's selflessness. Sonic apologizes to Tails and Knuckles for fighting without them. They forgive him, and the group embraces. Life returns to normal as they camp in the forest. Tom recovers, and Sonic reminds his friends of the unfinished race. The three take off, but Sonic finds himself in another state where a mysterious robot attacks him. Sonic dodges and strikes back, but the robot remains unscathed. Suddenly, a large number of robots surround him, preparing to attack. A mysterious figure appears, destroying them all. Revealing herself, she turns out to be a new ally, marking the end of this chapter. Here ends the movie. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and activate the notification bell to receive all the new updates.